Hell yeah. Bangers in the chat, folks.
Hell
we
yeah.
are back. I don't think that testing our audio levels is going to do a whole lot with you jumping around like a monkey over there.
Yeah. See, I got a new desk, guys, so I can stand up and do the Molyneux thing where I get right in the camera. Or I can hang back here and just look like a hunk.
Yeah, pop them titties out.
Yeah, really puff them out there. You guys want Molyneux Cooper or do you want Hunk Cooper? I'm here to please.
I vote for Molyneux Cooper, just because I miss that guy.
I'll stand right here.
Except you're like Dark Molyneux because he's usually they got like a white wall behind him and he's super
Blowing
white, glowing head.
Bald dome. Yeah, like with like a fisheye lens.
Oh, and then you're completely dark. This is where he's been this whole time. What's up with that guy?
I wonder what he's up to.
Yeah, I hope he's doing well. You were saying the other day you're kind of coming full circle on him, and I think I probably am too.
Yeah, I remember I used to listen to him back in the libertarian days, and then he started going down kind of the alt-right pipeline, as the kids say, and that offended my liberal sensibilities. But now that I've also gone down that very same pipeline, I imagine the thing that would bother me the most about him now is his libertarianism, whatever's remaining of that.
Yeah, universally preferable behavior.
Yeah, the atheism.
I wonder what. So, like, obviously, the stuff that got him taken off of every main platform in the world, the observations that he was making fly directly in the face of the idea of universally preferable behavior, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'd be very curious to know what his stance is on that notion now. Does anybody in the chat you know what's up with our old boy Steph?
Molly meme.
Mm-hmm.
What's he up to?
2-Bit Podcast asks who gave Cooper Molly. There's got to be a pun in there, but I'm not smart enough to get it.
I've got some nicotine lozenges.
Oh, there you go.
And Grandpa White Claw's back.
Oh, hell yeah! Well, Grandpa White Claw is a hypothetical fictional character.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like the Jekyll to my Hyde.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you for showing up here, folks. We're streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, and on Facebook. Well, nobody really cares about Facebook. I don't even know why we stream there, but we are.
Phone lighting. God, I look good.
Last time I saw you, you were wearing your wife's bathrobe. So this is a change.
I'm sweating though because I've been dancing for like a half an hour. I'm so hot.
We are super chat eligible. So if you guys want to support the stream, then go ahead and send us a super chat. I've got some stuff I want to read to you guys here on the subject of the title, and then we're going to do like an AMA sort of this evening. Basically, last episode, the stream I did by myself on American Dynamism because this guy was busy with the AIDS.
No, I was up north. I was up north for a work trip where I got AIDS, drinking at a bar with my boss.
Oh yes. Important distinctions to be made. It was a short show because I was getting ready to go over onto my good buddy Phil Gibson's podcast, which is out now, by the way. Look up QPOL, Quiet Parts Out Loud. He posted it yesterday or the day before. I don't know what day it is. And we talked about some really interesting stuff there. We talked about the idea of essentially an equivalent to the PayPal mafia among the finance sector. So go check that out. It's on YouTube. It's on the podcatchers. You can catch it on his Substack as well. But I did a stream on this American Dynamism thing and the Gundo phenomenon, and there was a lot of people who were starting to spurg out in the chat, and I didn't have time to sit here and debate with them. So if those people are back and they want to pick up where they left off, then we're going to do a little AMA on some of this stuff here at the end.
Hey, chat. How does the audio sound me relative to Matt? Now that we've both got kind of new setups going on here, so we haven't tested anything.
Yeah,
we're professionals.
Yeah, we're late.
Maybe it'd be better, Matt, if we switch sides so that we're like looking at each other. I don't know. What do you think?
I thought it was kind of funny to have us explicitly not looking at each other, like looking to opposite sides. Yeah. I'll have to turn like this. I can get it out here.
This guy.
Yeah. Yes. So super chat. So the other thing I was going to say is we do have a membership. If you want to post bangers in the chat here, then you can sign up for a King Pilled membership. I think it's $5 a month, and you can become one of the King Pilled. Josiah says sounds good.
I turned my volume down from max.
Oh, so, two people say that I'm louder.
That's new. That's probably just because the mic is way over here.
Yeah. Matt, like, okay, here, don't do anything. I'm going to turn myself down because I've maxed my volume out because that seemed to be the only solution. But now if things have changed, then I'm happy pulling them down a little bit. So let me know if that's any better. We talked earlier, and I had a couple of things that were like, I don't know, little like icebreaker things sort of at the beginning. And I don't remember what they were now. Do you remember?
Not the guy burning himself to death.
No, that's not much of an icebreaker. That's a little too hot.
How does that joke go, or that opener? How much does a polar bear weigh?
How much?
Enough to break the ice. I am Cooper. Guys, you want to hear my favorite pickup line? This
oh,
one works
God.
every time. I've tried this. You approach the lady who's sitting alone at the bar, waiting for somebody to come save her. And you sit down looking all disheveled and dejected, and you say, I got a lot of problems. You want to fix me? It works.
Yes. I actually wouldn't be surprised if that does work.
I'm not lying. That was my go-to.
I can't share my favorite pickup line here. I think that would probably be a little beyond the pale. Yeah. Yeah. That's probably even a little too much for King Pilled. If you're in the King Pilled supporting listeners group Discord, you'll probably be you'll be aware of it. I think I've told it in there. If not, I'll tell it again. I'm not going to share it here on the show because it's I've learned that there are clergy who listen to our show. So
for some reason,
yeah, right. So I'm gonna at least keep it PG-13. Welcome to Made by Jim Bob and his viewers who are now rating us just in time for the humor. Now that we're done talking to Cooper, we're gonna get some humor in the show here.
Yeah, we just finished our housekeeping right in time.
Yes.
I am wearing jorts right now, actually.
Shout out jorts. Okay, have you seen this video?
I have not.
Okay, you'll appreciate this.
Which one do you
Elon
like?
Musk.
Smart.
Joe Biden.
Dumb.
Kim Jong-un.
Interesting.
Kim Kardashian.
Disingenuous.
Ice Spice.
Who the hell is Ice Spice? Go ahead, which one do you
Elon
like?
Musk.
Just the way he says it, he's like, who the hell is Ice Spice? The New York came out in him. I actually saw a really interesting video of him the other. I wonder if I could find this real quick. This is calling an audible here, but it was like young Donald Trump, and I'd seen videos of young Donald Trump before, but this one in particular was it was very interesting. Hearing him talk and having it be very distinctly Trump, but also not. He was much less of a meme back then, which I suppose might be a good thing. It might be a bad thing. Yeah, it's not coming up. I'll see if I can find it. If any of you guys saw it, then you could send it to me and I'll show it on another show. But it was him being asked specifically about the idea of running for president, and he said that he would be, maybe kind of open to it, but he gave some kind of nuanced answer that was kind of interesting. He was definitely a thoughtful guy, and you can see how much of what he is today is a character that he's developed. I don't know if you can really distinguish between what's the character and what's him at this point. But you could tell very much that there is a character there, and that at least at once upon a time, underneath that character was actually a very Very serious, ponderous guy.
Hey, someone's talking shit about the White Claws. I'm Grandpa White Claw.
That's right. You can't talk shit about the White Claws. Grandpa White Claw will come for you.
That's right.
Athanasius wants you to put some clothes on.
Every time someone says put clothes on, I'm going to take another article of clothing off.
That's not going to last very long.
Yeah,
The last thing that's going to go is the glasses, right?
no, the trucker hat. Yeah, what's next? A Mike's Hard Lemonade? Yeah. And then a Sam Adams.
Super chat, $5 from Logan Daly. Thank you, man. He said Jerome Bob sent the nubs over. Welcome to Jortlandia. I know one of those words. Jerome Bob. I need to listen to Jim Bob more often because I don't know when he turned into Jerome Bob, and I have no idea what the nubs are. But I'm excited to learn.
Well, I see people saying hit them nubs. Does that mean likes?
Oh, maybe is this the kids' lingo here on the YouTubes?
Risen up the old dust bunnies.
Yeah. Screwed Up Rebellion points out we've got 23 likes with 110 watching. Come on, folks. You gotta pull your end of the deal here. We're about to actually get
110?
into.
Whoa.
Yeah. Shout out Jim Bob. We're about to actually hop into some substantial conversation here. But for all the people who jumped in when Jim Bob sent him over, we're going to do sort of like an AMA here at the end. We had a bunch of people in the last episode who were very unhappy with my presentation of American dynamism and the Gundo phenomenon as a white pill. They were taking a much more cynical approach, and I didn't have time to debate it with them then. So what we're talking about today is going to directly tie into that, and then if you guys want to, we'll try to set aside a little time at the end if you guys want to pick a fight. Brody says he'll explain the nub thing in King Pilled voice chat. Thank you.
We could drop
Thank
the
you.
Restream link and do the Jim Bob thing.
Yeah, I guess we could do that. We'll see. We'll see how things go along here, and how much time. Because
yeah,
I also probably can't do a Jim Bob 3-hour stream. So, I titled this today "The Impending Death of the GAE." And we're going to do a lot of reading in this show because I sketched down some of my thoughts on Twitter, as I often want to do. But before we get into that, I want to... Took by Jamal Bob. That one I think I can get.
Why is that guy naked, though? Welcome.
He's often naked. You just have to, have to get used to it.
We're going to rename the show to Cooper's Coom Pod. You're all
yeah, I often, when he calls me in the morning, I often call him like some variation of Coompod or Coomper or what else have I called you? Various Coom variants.
Koompa Loompa.
Oh, that's a good one. Why didn't I think of that? I had to wait for you. All right, so first of all, this term, the GAE. I assume that most people who watch this show, I was looking at what other shows most people watch this show, and it's all like Orrin McIntyre, Academic Agent, Old Glory Club, Mr. Prudentialist. It's all those guys. So I assume most people who are watching this probably don't need us to define the GAE, but I'm going to do it anyways because I think it's kind of nuanced and people use it in a lot of different ways. It's kind of become just sort of generic for like the regime, but it's actually a very specific, nuanced definition of the regime. And I think the best explanation of it that I've heard is from Academic Agent himself. So I found his Substack where he broke this down. So we're going to read through part of this, and I'd recommend going and reading the rest of it because he gets into some separate issues later on. But we're not going to get into all that. So, Academic Agent, he says, while it will be shocking to some that this article needs to be written, apparently, it does need to be. Keep a bookmark to this to share with friends and family whenever anyone asks you, what is the GAE? Or else whenever a fellow traveler and comrade starts to sound like George W. Bush circa 2004. So what is the GAE? The global American empire. It is the post-World War II global order maintained by American hegemony. The GAE is marked by a financial system underpinned by the US dollar and such entities as the World Bank and the IMF. It has occupied Europe since 1945 with military bases all over its territories and such supranational holding mechanisms as NATO and the EU to control both the foreign and domestic agendas of European nations. Therefore, the national governments of European nations are, in effect, no better than regional colonial administrators. How does the GAE maintain its power? 4 main ways. First, through military supremacy. Now keep these different points in mind because they're gonna become relevant later.
Instead of saying gay, every time that comes up, say piss drinker.
Okay, piss drinker. How does the piss drinker maintain its power? 4 main ways. First, through military supremacy. The USA outspends every other nation by some distance. American nationalists, such as Donald Trump, have argued that European nations who do not fulfill their NATO defense spending obligations should pay up. But this is to misunderstand the function of NATO. Trump's demand was, essentially, an imperial call for colonies to pay for their own subjugation. Why should Americans pay for Europe's defense? Ask American populists. In truth, U.S. military spending is not for Europe's defense at all, but to ensure its continued helplessness. It is simply the cost of empire. Even besides this, the premise that Europe cannot defend itself is somewhat farcical, even though it is never seriously questioned. Russia has never even come close to conquering Western Europe in history, and it is currently making seemingly hard work of it just to take a portion of Ukraine. The combined military budgets of the UK, France, and Germany are almost 3 times that of Russia, while Italy and Spain still maintain armies of over 150,000 strong. Recall, this has been in peacetime with an implicit guarantee of U.S. defense. Any of those nations could remilitarize far beyond current numbers if the call arose, as they have done throughout their long and glorious histories. The piss drinker serves to curtail such thoughts, as well as to prevent the European nations from worrying about their traditional rivals, each other. Hence, Europe has lived in a gay or a piss-drinking, postmodern, post-national, ahistoric fiction for over 70 years. Beyond Europe, the piss drinker ensures global compliance with their order using its military might. In the last instance, nations that will not play ball are simply bombed into submission, as were, for example, Serbia and Iraq, under the guise of remaking alien foreign cultures in America's image as a liberal democracy. So, number 1, military supremacy. Number 2, the piss drinker maintains control through its dominance over the global financial system underpinned by the US dollar and the IMF. Before military might is required, the piss drinker favors financial leverage as its favorite tool of control. Any nation that does not comply, let us say Cuba or Iran or Venezuela or Zimbabwe, are subjected to punitive sanctions in which the USA threatens all other nations to boycott the rogue state and brand it as enemies. The average American is encouraged to view the average Venezuelan, say, as an enemy, not because of racial otherness, far from it, but because he's a socialist and therefore not one of me. The same Venezuelan who has moved to the USA and adopted American ways can now be hailed as a success story for capitalism on Fox News, or as proof that the American socialist left are good and virtuous people on CNN. The net effect of such sanctions typically causes the governments of rogue states to move to emergency command and control economies, which suffer shortages and hyperinflation. Once the rogue state is desperate enough, it must beg the IMF for a loan. The IMF must be repaid in US dollars. Therefore, the rogue state cannot inflate its way out of debt. Meanwhile, the USA, as hegemon of the piss drinker and the beneficiary of US dollar supremacy, can inflate its way out of debt. In this way, the USA can run up an annual fiscal deficit of $1 trillion and total public debts of over $30 trillion, while demanding that a nation like Zimbabwe must live within its means like some sort of F.A. Hayek simulator. Often, an IMF intervention has resulted in famine for the nation in question. Studying a list of IMF interventions since its inception would be instructive. Third, the piss drinker is a regime characterized by the techniques of soft persuasion and propaganda. So first was military supremacy. Second was dollar supremacy, essentially, but supremacy over the global financial system. And third is a regime characterized by the techniques of soft persuasion and propaganda, or a Fox regime, or soft power regime.
Yeah. The piss drinking regime.
Yeah. Its official ideology might be characterized as anti-tradition. In the words of Julius Evola, a civilization that represents an exact contradiction of the ancient European tradition. That means non-whites and other historically excluded minorities, such as Jews, have hierarchy over whites. That means that the moral norms and practices of LGBT people must prevail over those of straight people. That means feminism must prevail over the ancient patriarchal order. That means materialist atheism must prevail over transcendental religion. That means a banal and leveling reign of quantity must prevail over any and all meaningful qualitative differences between people. This is the piss drinker's message, which is pumped out through the avenues of its propaganda 24/7, through every media and social media outline, through every institution, through all otherwise hierarchical organizations, and from the top of every government. Enormous resources are committed to ensuring the subjects of the piss drinker receive this messaging in all times and all places. Commissars, known as equality, diversity, and inclusion officers, are employed to punish any transgressions. Interestingly, he wrote Equality, Diversity, and Inclusion. He wrote this in September of 2022, and apparently DEI was not a household term at that point, which shows you how quickly these sorts of things change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fourth, the piss drinker subjugates its colonies through the method of demographic change through mass non-white immigration. In 1945, Europe, unlike America, was overwhelmingly white. This was unacceptable to the piss drinker, who required, for the purposes of a uniform policy across his empire, for all vassal states to enjoy the same diversity as the USA. Thus, the project to remake Europe in America's image. The piss drinker cannot allow there to be test cases that have not embarked on this suicidal policy. Domestic politicians who resist in any nation are branded fascists or else exiled from public life and vilified like the late Enoch Powell in the United Kingdom. Public opinion on this issue simply does not matter. Nations as ethnically homogenous as Ireland are rebranded in the American mold as proposition nations, wherein an African who arrived in the past 2 years is just as Irish as someone whose family has lived there for 500 years.
That's supposed to be one word. Wherein.
Yes, it is. There was another interesting typo back here as well that almost made me think that he
Isn't he British? He should know this.
Right. I think he might have voice to texted this or something because the way that like you said, branded instead of brand it earlier. He said, this is the logic of a settler nation which welcomes all newcomers. And then I'll read at least... Yeah, we'll read this next one. Why do you call it piss drinker and not any other name? Vladimir Putin suggested Empire of Lies, which I like, but which both fail to take off and which fails to capture the specifically American nature of the piss drinker. Many older dissidents prefer ZOG, which stands for Zionist Occupation Government, and draws attention to the specifically Jewish and pro-Israeli nature of the post-1945 order. Whatever truth there may or may not be to that analysis, the term both attracts the eye of Sauron and has heavy associations with neo-Nazism. For these reasons, the term piss drinker has been preferred. More substantively, however, I feel it lets rather too many people, specifically elite white Americans, as well as insane Israel-obsessed evangelicals, off the hook, and encourages you to overlook the complicity of the American order in general with this overall project. I think this is a very substantive point here. The overemphasis on tribal power is I think it's a bitch move. That's not to say that the tribe doesn't have power or the tribe's power isn't a problem or that the tribe is not a threat. None of those things. It's that the overemphasis on it, over-indexing on this single phenomenon, both absolves the person who's saying it from responsibility for their own situation and for the responsibility of their own people, and it projects power that's not there. Because outside of a cartoonish view of the world, it's very obvious that these sorts of this level of complexity at the above the nation state level, that these kinds of systems cannot be maintained by a single ideological faction. It just is not possible. Bronze Age Pervert has suggested an alternative recently, the GNC, or global nigger communism. This is partly motivated by what BAP sees as the hijacking of the right's agenda by Catholic integralists and other religious groups who wish to take the focus from race onto safer areas, such as the cultural impact of porn. BAP outlines how the USA, not Russia, has always been the driving force behind anti-colonialism, post-colonialism, and the social elevation of blacks to right perceived historic wrongs. He has charted in many episodes of his podcast the American drive to destroy the old European order and its empires, which mirrors, in surprising ways, older analyses by traditionalists such as Julius Evola. However, I have some issues with the term. Communism puts one in mind of the Cold War, and BAP seems in some obscure way to wish to save the liberal or capitalist right from the implications of his own analysis. BAP himself, along with our mutual friend, the shaman, Thomas777, has done much great work to show that, in actuality, the USA barely fought any Cold War against the USSR, but rather strove to outdo it to be more egalitarian, more gay, more racially equitable, and so on than the Soviet socialist bloc was. BAP seems to wish to pin this on the left, whereas I, in the reactionary tradition of Carlyle, Evola, and indeed Yarvin, would simply say this is the logic of liberal democracy and is a function of Americanism per se. This is a point that I've struggled with because, on one hand, you want to retain this idea of America, Americana, the spirit of America, the thing it stands for. This is the whole Gundo phenomenon: is guys who are really bringing back to life this notion of a noble and heroic America.
That's the bit I'm doing right now.
Right, exactly, yeah. And there's a degree to which it starts off as a meme and then becomes a thing, which I think incidentally is what BAP is doing here with the communism thing. I think communism has a meme implication that's kind of separate from its actual literal historical definition. I think that's probably part of what he's doing, and AA may be reading a little too much into it. But at the same time, I think AA's point is true that, as he says here, communism, even if BAP does not intend it, seems to get neoliberalism off the hook, and honestly makes him sound like he's angling for a backdoor return to Reaganism or Thatcherism, which I somehow doubt. For all these reasons and more, I prefer to stick with piss drinker than adopt GNC. So that's a little background on what is the GAE.
Brody said in the chat, he said, laughing, imagining people tuning in right now when you were like halfway through reading that.
Yeah. Why is he saying piss drinker?
Yeah. Because gay.
Mm-hmm.
There. You're all caught up now.
Bill Hicks says, subscribed. Heard of King Pill before, but the piss drinker got me subscribed. There you go. Cooper has finally brought in a subscriber. Good job, Cooper.
Who wrote that? Says Ant Bear Pig. Academic agent.
Yes.
Who Matt will be talking to in a couple weeks here.
Yes. I will be on March 11th. I will be joining Academic Agent for, I assume, a panel discussion on the PayPal mafia and that subject more broadly. Also, tomorrow, I'm going to be going on Semiagog's channel. A lot of people, I've mentioned this a few times, and people have been like, who is that? And more people need to know who Semiagog is. He's a good guy. He's another in the same general genre as Academic Agent, Orrin McIntyre, the Prudentialist, Jay Burden, similar type of dissident right, neo-reactionary influenced political commentator. Yeah, talking to Keith Woods would be interesting. Going from Academic Agent to Keith Woods would be that would be an experience. But so Semiagog, I'm going on his channel tomorrow evening. I can't remember the exact time. Actually, I should just pull that up real quick. It's easy. I will be on Semiagog's channel at 5 p.m. Central tomorrow, and we're going to talk PayPal Mafia, but specifically the foreign policy and geopolitics implications of it, which was something I hadn't really thought a whole lot about. I was mostly focused domestically. So I've had to develop some thoughts so that I can participate in that conversation. He already texted me some interesting thoughts he has, so I know that's going to be a good conversation. Another $5 super chat from Logan Daly. He says, piss drinker is real and gay, but it demands we be fake and gay. That's well played. Maybe I should have said piss drinker is real and piss drinker, but it demands we be fake and piss drinker.
I'm fake and gay.
You're not fake and piss drinker?
No.
Okay.
I don't do that.
Just dilk, right?
I don't do that. Yeah, just dilk. Give me some dilk. No piss drinking.
Yeah. I don't know if that's better or worse.
Yeah. Tell the story about Eastwood's imaginary. What's his name?
Oh, my 3-year-old son has imaginary friends. He calls them his imaginaries. Every night I have to say goodnight to his imaginaries. One of them is a bull named Barry Safa, and this bull produces milk.
Barry Safa's dilk. You want
yes.
some?
He also has a butterfly named Chair and a wasp without a stinger named Wall. So, 3-year-old. Okay, so the next points here, let's see which one of these I want to do in order. Let's do this one. So I just posted this tweet. I was
Barry Safa's dilk sauce. I like it.
There you go. If you guys wanted to start a restaurant, our good friend Brody has just given you the name of your restaurant. Be funny to do.
My father, by the way.
He is. That's right. I don't think your other father is in here.
Yeah.
It'd be funny to do a Ray Pete themed restaurant and call it Barry Safa's dilk sauce.
Everything's fried in tallow and covered in Haagen-Dazs.
And dairy, yeah.
Welcome to the King Pill, Mr. Logan Daly.
What is going on, buddy? Thank you for signing up. Probably
Logan
Daly.
Down?
There's a golfer named John Daly, and it's spelled the same way. John Daly is amazing. He wears he's like this huge fat guy with a big beard, and he wears like super bright, like obnoxious colors, and just drinks Diet Coke or beer and chain smokes cigarettes the entire time he's out
that
golfing.
guy's awesome. I love that guy. He's my spirit animal.
Yeah.
By the way, you want to hear something sad?
What?
I'm 2 White Claws in, and I'm feeling a little tipsy. That's how
boy.
lightweight I am.
Mm-hmm. That's what you get for being a twink.
I know.
You gotta
A deadlifting twink.
Mm-hmm. You gotta start bulking.
Nope, I'm done with my bulk. I'm cutting right now. That's why I'm drinking White Claws and not beer like a man.
You mean you're becoming a woman?
Yeah, that's right. No, I'd be drinking IPAs if that were the case.
Hey, now don't. I had to resolve my issues with IPAs. I had to abandon them. Don't rub it in.
What do you mean? Why?
Because estrogen.
Yeah, but they are pretty good.
Yeah. That's like the little bit of remnant of Pacific Northwest I still have in me.
I should start an OnlyFans, dude. Look like this. I look so good right now.
You do realize if you start an OnlyFans, it's going to be explicitly for men, right?
That's okay. I mean, that's money, right?
Right.
We'll start it under the company, and then just take all the proceeds and put it into Bitcoin or something.
You got to get hopping then. We got to beat the happening.
Got to get hopping with IPAs. Get it?
I do get it. Another $2.
Jason
Logan's
really
keeping us in
with the
business
joke
today.
joke. Yeah,
He says
Logan's
Piss
paying
Drinker
rent.
has earned us a fan.
Hey, Logan, pay a little bit more. What are you doing?
Yeah.
$2.
Yeah. What are you, a woman?
I'm kidding. You can give us like a. You can buy me some chocolate. I'd be happy.
That's Jason's bit.
I'm easy to please.
20 live streams in, I finally understand why Cooper's on the show.
What do you mean?
Oh, I thought you were about
I
to
am-
do your. I thought you were about to do your vote Trump thing.
Vote Trump. You finally understand why Cooper. What do you mean? What is that supposed to mean? Guts? Is that a Berserk reference? Finally on. Why I'm on the show? Why? Because I'm funny? I am funny. Fuck off. Get out of here.
Oh man, they're going after you now. Athanasius
I
wants to
know.
know how much soy is in those White Claws.
They've turned on me. Ban. Where's Xavier? Xavier, ban him.
Cooper with the heel turn.
Xavier
did
and
you see-
Dude, it's really every time Xavier and I go to the gym, we walk in, they're smelling like American Spirits and White Claw because it's our pre-workout. It's like chiefed out. Some cigarettes and slam a White Claw and go in there and do some fucking deadlifts.
That's your white boy pregame. That's very white boy. All right.
What you pour for Coke?
Oh, come on, don't crash on me now. Okay, there we go. All right. Annie smokes gay cigarettes. Hey now. We're not going to be going to war with American spirits over here.
We're not doing that. We're not talking shit about cigarettes, all right? We're Americans here, right?
Right,
Emmanuel
right.
can talk shit about cigarettes if he wants, but he's Mexican, so we don't have to listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
I support big tobacco.
That's right. I am a proud supporter of big tobacco. I want to pay the cig tax. I actively want to pay the cig tax. That is my my obeisance to big tobacco. Okay. This is a tweet that I was working on over the weekend, and I wanted to share it on the show here, so I had to get it cranked out here real quick before we got started. And that's part of the reason why we were late. Just American Spirit, smoke like a man. So okay, now we got to make a differentiation here. Are you hating American Spirits because you're like a Marb Red person, Or are you hating American spirits because you're like a Hestia person? Because I'm here to tell you, if you're coming from the Hestia perspective, then you have no grounds to stand on talking about gay cigarettes.
You are part of the gay.
Marb Reds, I can understand. Like, I appreciate that. The only reason I don't smoke Marb Reds is because they make me feel like I've got, like, shit coating my mouth.
Yeah. The Marlboro Black and Greens. That's like the only Marlboro I can do. I've been spoiled with the spirits, but the spirits cost so freaking much now, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta go back to rolling my own. Actually, I just quit, I guess. I guess I could just quit. I could do that.
Smoking spirits is kind of like living in Southern California. Like you pay the tax because like in California you're paying the sunshine tax. This is one of my favorite things that Jason Stapleton never said. Someone was complaining to him about the cost of living and like, why do you live there? It's so expensive to live there. He says, I live here because it's fucking Southern California. You realize what it's like to have unbelievable weather year round, be able to go skiing and go to the beach in the same day, like go surfing and skiing in the same day. There's so many wonderful things about living in Southern California. Yeah, you have to put up with you have to put up with special people. But those who have money can just do it.
I got really into cigars for a while, but that was getting expensive, so I went back to cigs, and then the cigs, the spirits were getting expensive, so I switched back to the Marlboros, and then recently I went back to the spirits because I missed the spirits, and after having spoken Marlboros for like, I don't know, like 2 months, and then going back to a spirit, it was too much for me. It was way too much for me. Like it made me like obviously it didn't make me feel like I was dying in the same way that a Marlboro makes you feel like you're dying, like you're just getting cancer. But like the head rush was too much. I felt like my head was gonna explode and like it was spinning, even though I was wide awake. And furthermore, it took for frickin' ever to get through one. It took like 20 minutes to smoke it. Okay, that's an exaggeration. It took like 5 minutes to smoke through a cigarette instead of like 2.
I was getting ready to do a show with Jason from the 2-Bit podcast the other day, and he was like, all right, I got to run out and smoke a cigarette real quick. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm sitting there, and I was like, should I go smoke one? I'll wait. And he was gone for like 45 seconds, and he came back in. He's like, all right, let's go. I was like, dude, what? Like, did you literally inhale the entire cigarette, just like and force it down your throat? No, he rolls his own and he just rolls the little shorties. And he said, years of being in the restaurant business, you got to duck out and just suck that fucker down and get back to work.
Get rid of the murderous rage and get back to work.
Which is like, that's like his baseline already is like murderous rage. So then I can't even imagine him working in a restaurant.
Like, as a fry cook at McDonald's or something.
Oh, man. Okay. I wanted to respond to something in here.
Today.
Yeah, no kidding. This is going to be a lot longer show than I thought.
That's okay. I've got nowhere to be.
Athanasius said surfing and skiing in the same day sounds brutal. It's not that you would necessarily go surfing and skiing in the same day. It's that you can, and you could go surfing or you could go skiing. Like, both of them are available options to you. So Saturday you could go skiing, Sunday you could go surfing, or vice versa. So yeah, I think really what it is that Southern California is like the Mediterranean climate. It's like I'm just meant to live in the Mediterranean.
Athanasius says, "This is how you do a 3-hour stream, boys." Yep.
Yeah, right.
You're right.
And you start interacting with the chat and
start talking to you losers.
Marb Reds are $10 here in Texas.
Hey Xavier, what's up, dude?
Marb Reds are $10. Where in Texas? I mean, you don't have to dox yourself, but I think I'm paying like 11 for spirits. I can't imagine that Marb Reds are $10.
I remember when spirits were they were already the expensive brand, but they were like $7.25 or something like that. Man, has tobacco gone up? And that was like 3 years ago.
That's
or maybe okay. Dude, it's crazy to me. I've been out of high school for like 10 years now. That's wild. Okay, so maybe it was longer. It was like 8 or 9 years ago.
First person Q says I vape menthol. I am a gay black robot.
No, menthol is good, dude.
I smoke menthol.
Big fan of menthol.
I don't vape them. Yeah, I love menthol. Mediterranean climate.
Menthol, but now I'll never go back. That's great.
Bill Hicks says Mediterranean climate. California have good wines. Have you heard of Napa Valley? Yes. Gifted membership, one King-Pilled membership from random username. We were waiting to find out who's going to get it. Logan Daly, $5. He says, I'm no loser, just a wretch. Get it right or keep Sergeant Daly out of the picture.
Get out of here.
Oh, hell yeah. Glonk Respecter got the membership.
Glonk, what's up, dude?
Hell yeah. I love Glonk Respecter, the best name on the internet.
Yeah, Glonk, my man.
You know what his profile picture is, or his avatar? Can you see?
No, I can't.
It's like I think he has the same one on Twitter. It's the Down syndrome guy sitting there with like a really serious picture. It's just absolutely perfect. It's probably a good thing that American Spirits are not still like $7.25, because them being like $11 is part of the reason that I don't smoke more of them.
Yeah, that's true. Quartzy, $5 says, who gives the most Fed energy in the dissident right, E-right / NRX? That's a good question.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's who it is.
Us.
I wish it was us, man. I would take some frickin' Fed bucks. That'd make life a lot easier. Most Fed energy. I don't think there's really a person that I would call out, partly because I just don't think it would be. I don't feel like picking a fight with someone. And
Why not?
also,
Oren.
I got enough going on right now. Yeah, Oren.
Academic Asian.
Yeah. Prudentialist.
Yeah.
Haywood. Let's just name them all.
Charles Haywood.
I don't think that
Who's
there's
the guy you're going on? Semaglutide?
Semiagog.
Semiagog. I was naming the active ingredient in Ozempic.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Haley gifted 10 King-Pilled memberships. Welcome, everybody.
Thanks, you, man. Okay, he stepped up, so it works. When you shame the people for not giving big enough super chats, then they give you more money. So we need to repeat this pattern.
Okay, good.
I think I missed one in here. Emmanuel, member for 3 months. Thank you, buddy. He says this piss drinker chat identifies as a super chat. To answer the question, the who gives the most Fed energy, I think it's not a specific, and this is actually a serious answer. This isn't a cop-out. I think it's actually a particular mentality that a lot of people have, which is in part what I wanted to address with the show here today, if we ever actually get to the substance of it. I never get a notification from gifted subs. Maybe it's my browser. Yeah, I wouldn't trust YouTube notifications for anything. I think they're bad.
We should do an episode with Xavier where we red pill him on various topics and try to like deprogram the lib, because he's a recently recovering lib.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we have to find out, is he going to face fag or not? Because we could also, I think we might have 1 or 2 women in the audience that are not married. Yeah.
He's too pretty.
We've got plenty of guys. You know, they tend to like the pretty ones.
You guys like a beach boy? I've got one for you.
Yeah, literally looks like a young Brad Pitt. Like it's striking how much he looks like a young Brad Pitt. Okay, stop distracting me. Let me get this thought out.
Okay,
the mentality that I think pervades the dissident right, E-right,
not with his audio issues.
whatever,
not
is
out.
The biggest issue, I think, is this tendency toward nihilism and toward doomerism and projecting undue power on their enemies. It's one thing to recognize the seriousness of the situation. It's another thing to doom spiral and treat everybody who does anything as a Fed. Just assume that the only thing you can do is just sit and wait, and hope you get spared from the coon pod because daddy comes home. I think this is something that pervades the online right. It's goonacry, yeah. And honestly, what it is I think it's not a coincidence that a lot of the whatever you'd call the dissident right, NRX, online Twitter, whatever. I think a lot of these people they're former libertarians, and they've retained that ethos of libertarianism, which is I can't cooperate or work with or respect anyone who is not a real libertarian. And every conversation just devolves into, is this guy a real libertarian or not? So this is part of the American Dynamism Gundo stream that we did, or that I did, was highlighting this, that there are people out there who could be allies, who could be seen as allies, if we can overcome this not a real libertarian impulse that just immediately looks at any person and judges them on, are they 100% aligned with me or not? And if they're not, I'm going to obsess on the thing that's different and spin out on that. Yeah, you are. You got to show your nipples though.
Good, man.
Got to get, yeah, there you go. That's better.
This is just a long ad for our fitness program.
Okay, so let's share this and let's continue with breaking this down. All right, so now that you guys are caught up, for those of you who didn't know what the piss drinker is, keep that in mind as we go through this, and the 4 points that he brought out, the 4 bases of power for the piss drinker. So I wrote, the fundamental express premise of the piss drinker is that no one bears absolute power. But a war against absolute power is a war against competence. So the idea that no one bears absolute power, you should be able to recognize this if you just think about it for a few minutes. The entire premise of all diplomacy, of all policy, everything is all about the empowerment of the people and egalitarianism and equality. And anybody who might have absolute power is going to be immediately viewed as a despot and a villain. The entire thing its entire premise is avoiding the existence of absolute power. Anybody who might present as having absolute power becomes the focus of the regime to take down and obliterate that absolute power. But a war against absolute power is a war against competence. So premise 1, competence breeds capital, which breeds power. This is a continuum. When you do things competently, you generate capital. When you generate capital, you generate power. To do war with power is to destroy capital, which ultimately breeds incompetence. The piss drinker only exists because of an absence of absolute power that is taken for granted. The existence of the mere threat of absolute power anywhere is a stain on its white garments and must be expunged. So the entire premise of this global American empire is that there's nobody who's actually in charge. We must all be equal. We must all engage equally. This is like the surface level, like the political formula, to quote Mosca, that is the premise behind this global American empire. We're going to take democracy to everyone. All these places that have these warlords, that have these authoritarian leaders, they need to be given some democracy so that nobody's in charge. There's nobody in power. We must whittle away at this absolute power. And we're going to generate all these different, this financial system, this media system, this military system, all these different systems that are going to be used to whittle away that or smash away that absolute power. Obviously, this is like fundamentally distorted, but that's kind of the point. Premise number 2, maintaining an extremely complex system like a global soft power regime demands extreme competence. This should be pretty self-evident. I think this premise is doesn't really need substantiation. It should stand for itself. This soft power regime, the way that the soft power regime works is by putting layers of plausible deniability and layers of like barriers between the people making the decisions and the people enforcing the decisions. You're trying to distribute all this responsibility and power out, which effectively means that the buck doesn't stop with anyone. The problem with this is that the more of these layers that you get between the decision makers and the actual facts on the ground is that you're creating longer and longer feedback loops. So the data that you're operating on is getting worse and worse. This is why the military, historically, militaries have been structured as you have like the general, and then he has his lieutenants, and you have this rigid hierarchy where commands are given out. This is the way an effective military works. A command is given out, and the command is the strategy. This is the strategy that we want to pursue. The tactics themselves are going to be decided by the people on the ground, because the people on the ground are the ones who have the best understanding of what's happening. They're the ones who can react immediately. You don't need to be like running everything back and forth up the chain of command over and over again, because it starts to break down. But that's how, to maintain a global soft power regime, that's how you're going to have to function. And the increase of technology has forestalled this collapse because the technology allows you to communicate things directly more quickly and get a more direct apprehension of the facts on the ground. But that cuts both ways because the increased transparency and increased human leverage capacity that's generated by digital technology especially is the same thing that is facilitating the rise of a counter to the existing elite and is what's revealing the existence of the existing elite, who, again, the piss drinker, is premised on the idea that there are no elites, that everyone is equal. Okay, so maintaining an extremely complex system like a global soft power regime demands extreme competence. As failure points begin to arise, the demand for competence increases, both vertically, in other words, a higher baseline for competence of individual nodes, and horizontally, a broader distribution of competent nodes. So if you imagine this distributed system, as you begin developing failure points on that system, it's going to throw a additional load onto the other nodes in the system. So you're going to get this demand for vertical competency where individual nodes have to be able to stand on their own better. Each individual node has to be more competent. But you also need a greater distribution of competent nodes. Because if you have like 3 competent nodes and 97 incompetent nodes, the sheer bulk of the 97 is going to overwhelm the 3. So you need the existing nodes to get better, but you also need to maintain a distribution of competent nodes so that the existing nodes can be protected from being overwhelmed by a majority.
Jason says, instead of taking over all of the lesser piss drinker institutions, Gundo is taking the crown of the military-industrial complex. That's an interesting thought.
Yes.
Thanks, Mr. Two-Bit.
Dan Cooper says, why is his audio always like this? Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, which one? Presumably you, because you were monologuing for like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. I guess we have to wait and see what he's going to say.
I went to put on my wife's bathrobe there because I'm getting cold down in my basement, and I was told that I must commit to the bit by Mance Jolly. So you know what? You're right. I guess I'm just gonna shiver.
Just suck them in, man. Just tuck them right up there.
Put my fucking Tic Tac on the table.
I'm on the flip side of it. Texas is finally starting to get hot and humid again, and I'm absolutely baking up here.
Dude, it was like 68 in Michigan today, and I was sweating all day.
It was like 85 here and humid.
That would
Disgusting.
be torture. I'm so used to it being like 20 degrees or less.
Okay.
Scratchy. Turn your headphones down, dude. You're probably just your gain's too high or something.
Yeah, well, Emmanuel says it sounds good, so we're just gonna roll with it.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, you're not clipping for me. Hold on. Cooper's audio is fine. Just sounds like a low bit rate. What is that? What the fuck does that mean?
I think he's technology shaming you.
Yeah. I'm learning to code. Give me a break, dude. I'm not there yet.
All right, so as the failure points in this extremely complex system, as the failure points begin to arise, then the demand for competence is going to increase, which means both vertically and horizontally, which means the only way out is the production of competence. Premise number 3. Secret power can never be absolute. If it were absolute, it would gain nothing through secrecy. In fact, secrecy is one of the greatest indicators of the absence of absolute power. This is why the piss drinker has been so insistent for so long that it doesn't exist. We're simply experiencing the natural state of civilized modern humans. Anything that threatens that state is inhuman and thus unnatural. This is probably going to be the premise that people may want to argue with the most. But I contend with you that anything that you say about what someone would gain through secrecy...
You are kind of clipping on my end a little bit, Matt, just when you get a little excited.
Okay.
What you would gain was their secrecy or whatever when you have that little oomph in your voice. Maybe turn yourself down a little bit or move the mic away just a little bit. Everyone else says the audio is fine, but I am hearing a little bit of clipping.
Okay. John MC says sound is perfect, well balanced. I have desktop volume set at 50%.
Well,
So-
that's a first. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll just roll with it.
Okay, and I'll try to minimize the spikes myself. I think anybody who says that anything that you might say that someone would gain through secrecy, like you might be like, oh, well, someone might have absolute power, but they don't want to deal with the plebs, so they're choosing to be secret so they don't have to be influenced by them. Any of those things could also be solved if you actually had absolute power. It could be solved through other means. Secrecy is a difficult thing to maintain. There's a lot of by definition, it's going to have to be a soft power dynamic, which is going to lend itself toward inefficiency and complexity. So I think any time that you see someone who is secretly powerful, that's an indication that they've got some major vulnerabilities. So given premises 1 to 3, there are only two possible paths forward. 1, whomever does bear absolute power, if someone does, will be drawn into the open by necessity, and that power will be tested. That is, the system will decomplexify to save itself through the implementation of hard power. Because obviously, this is taken for granted that we obviously have a competency crisis.
This is the longest freaking tweet ever.
This one's shorter than the next one, I think.
Like I'm not even following at all. I'm so lost. I've been keeping up with the chat. I'm totally lost.
Well, that's your job. You keep up with the chat.
Okay. All right.
So the system is going to have to decomplexify itself. As you start getting these corrupt nodes, the competency crisis is a very real thing. And as these things begin decomplexifying, then this is a synonym for the people who are in the shadows stepping out and it becoming more evident who's actually running the show. We've seen this happen most significantly with the election of Trump and the knock-on effects from that. One of the best things that Trump did is he basically triggered the immune system of the regime, which revealed who's actually in power, the people who are actually wielding power and actually running the show. Now it's basically a commonplace observation that the actual politicians themselves are not the power centers. The politicians are a mouthpiece. They're for sale to be used by the actual power centers. So there's that possibility, and this would be the possibility that I think this is what everyone's afraid of. Everyone's afraid that, yeah, you are. Everyone's afraid that the GAE is going to start cracking down. They've been doing this in isolated little pockets. This is the whole, we're going to wind up in our what do you call it, Brave New World sort of situation. This is the notion that the regime actually holds a lot of this really secret power. They haven't even begun to show how powerful they are, and the more that they get challenged, the more powerful they're going to get. I don't buy that. I don't think it's impossible, but I don't buy it. Option number 2 is the balance of power will shift to the most competent people, particularly those most intimately acquainted with the existing regime mechanisms and complex systems more broadly, who also already have and or can acquire sufficient capital to maintain that power. So
Bill Hicks says, aren't tweets limited to some amount of characters? Yeah, no kidding, dude.
yeah, if you're poor. You can pay and then they're not limited. Well, they are limited, but it's functionally not a limit. I actually ran out the limit once just to see if I could. So in either case, the GAE must necessarily be sacrificed. Its days are already numbered. Or sorry, the piss drinker must necessarily be sacrificed. Its days are already numbered.
Thank you.
So in case number 1, given that the fundamental express premise of the piss drinker is that no one bears absolute power, having the people in power step out of the shadows and reveal themselves breaks the trance of the piss drinker. Option number 2 is those who are not vested in the maintenance of the piss drinker are the ones who step into power because they're the ones who are the most competent. And not only are they the most competent, they're also the most intimately acquainted with existing regime mechanisms. This is obviously, I'm talking about this rising counter elite that we've been talking about. Their entire life has been spent dealing with bureaucracies, even sometimes explicitly lobbying the government and going through trying to get bills passed or challenging regulation. Like they are intimately acquainted with the nitty gritty of the existing regime mechanism. And they're also very familiar with complex systems, given their rise to power through technology and the innovation, the innovating both on the business level and on the technological level, and then depending on what the business is, even with finance, with pharmaceuticals, with other biological stuff. Like this is their specialty. So we're seeing an extremely complex system that has been built out over generations that now is entrusted to a bunch of incompetent retards. And these incompetent retards are really struggling to hold it together. And there's not more competent people coming, except for people who don't see the world the way they do. And that's what we're going to get into in the next tweet.
Yeah, for having like the highest IQ out of any demographic, they're really struggling.
Well, those weren't necessarily exactly the people I was thinking of, but them too.
Yeah.
It may just go to show that IQ isn't worth all that much.
Yeah, that's fair. Guys, I'm
like, I think Richard Feynman, I saw Richard Feynman was like a 120 IQ. And Reddit is replete with people who are like 150 or 160 who have all sorts of fucked up issues and stuff. So, yeah, buddy. You look like you're trying to record a music video or something. You only know, like, all you know how to do is just like West Side. You know, it's like the
I'm in the club. It's your birthday. You want
Athanasius has called it. Coop is a glowy.
Bitch, come and get it.
I think Cooper is drunk.
I'm mildly inebriated.
Okay. All right. This is the other one. So we're at the 1 hour mark.
Yeah, to the guy who asked the
look how long this one is.
The super chat about who gives off the biggest Fed energy. Right now, it's me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no question. Okay. So as I'm observing this pattern of regime defection among this rising counter-elite faction, I'm picking up a clear demarcation I think is valuable to assess.
I look like a cheap knockoff Tom Cruise, according to Josh Hamm. At least I don't have brain damage.
So we've got knockoff Tom Cruise and a young Brad Pitt.
What are you? Who are you?
Yeah, who am I? I have no idea.
You're that really annoying guy who played Jesus in that TV show recently? The Catholic dude?
Yeah, right. I don't remember his name. I've had... I choose to accept the comparison that I've been given recently from some people. Jason Momoa. I'm just going to roll with that one. I don't care what anyone says.
That's not a bad one, dude. Jason Momoa is a stud.
That's right.
You got to start deadlifting like the Gundo guys.
Yeah. I've got the nicotine. I've got the energy drinks. Got a deadlift. Okay. So there's... I don't want to name a specific person who... I was kind of thinking about this thought, and then I saw a tweet from a particular person who we've talked about before. You could go find it if you want. I don't want to specifically call him out for a number of reasons. But it was a very gay tweet. And I was thinking about this differentiation that I'm seeing.
Okay, who's being gay? Who's being gay? Is it like the Gunic Report kind of gay?
No, I don't think it would quite qualify for Gunic Report. But it was pearl clutching about the plight of Israel with respect to Hamas. We'll put it that way. So there's these two notions that I think a lot of, well, we'll get into it in the tweet here. So there's America should exist for the sake of Israel, and then there's America should exist and so should Israel. And I think this is a valuable differentiation to be aware of and to watch for. Because, as I'm going to say here in just a minute, this to a lot of our guys, they see this as a distinction without a difference. But I think the people who are saying these things do not see this as a distinction without a difference. They see it as a very significant distinction.
Yeah.
So it's like the people who see Israel as Western and an American ally versus those who are actively hostile to the very idea of an American identity because they see it as detracting from Israel's claim to an identity. I know the instinct among many of these here parts want to treat that as a distinction without a difference, and I'm sympathetic to that instinct. But I think there is a pretty clear difference. Open, right-wing hostility to Israel simply can't stack sufficient political capital to attain legitimate elite status for obvious reasons. Suspicion or cynicism may be tolerated, which is a change. Hostility is a no-go. However, quote, America should be for Americans is a very easy sell to a huge majority of Americans and non-Americans. And that notion in itself is seen by Zionists as anti-Zionist. Ergo, transitive property, enemy of my enemy, etc. So
Jesus Christ, we have another fucking tweet that you wrote?
Did you just catch up?
Yeah, I did. I just caught up. We got another freaking novella.
See, this is the way when I'm thinking about this stuff. If I don't write it down, then I'm just gonna forget it. And so instead of putting it in my notes, I just put it on Twitter, and I can refer back to it. No, it was not James Lindsay. It was not someone who has been completely overcome by gayness. It was someone who was expressing a little bit of gayness.
Are we talking about gay or piss drinking gay?
More gay than piss drinking gay.
Okay.
So treating the America should be for Americans people who themselves send regime apparatchiks into spitting paroxysms of rage as indistinguishable from the regime is projecting power into the regime that simply is not there. This is what I was referring to a little bit ago with the Fed energy that I do see. The Fed energy that I do see is treating anybody who expresses any sort of I don't know, sympathy, affection, even just insufficient condemnation to the state of Israel as indistinguishable from a Zionist. You are projecting power into the regime that isn't there. Because Zionists most definitely do not see them as their people. And they don't see themselves as the Zionist people. So the only people that are categorizing those people together are the people who are supposedly anti-Zionist. Why would you want to make your enemies big? Like, why would you want to expand the ranks of your enemies needlessly when they don't even want to themselves? The America should be for Americans counter elite have substantial beef with the regime, and they're taking it to them where it hurts. And these are like the main points. I sat and tried to think of all the main points that as I've been looking at this rising counter elite, the PayPal mafia is the shorthand for it. These are like the significant issues to them. These are the issues that I see come up the most often among their ranks. So number one would be the thought control mechanisms, the corrupt media, the free speech, wokeness, that whole bucket of issues. This is something that's very important to them. Then there's the pro-natalist, pro-family, anti-crime bucket. With this, you get illegal immigration, national sovereignty is the next thing. A lot of these people, the American Dynamism people, the Gundo people, the PayPal Mafia people, the Project 2025 people, even the shout out Phil Gibson in the chat here, the conversation he and I had he's on Twitter, so you guys won't see him. The conversation he and I had, we were talking about the monetary elites who seem to be defecting from the globo homo agenda. These are similarly issues that they at least some of these things are stuff that they're giving voice to, and a lot of these things are very publicly associated with each other. So someone like Jamie Dimon saying Trump was right about NATO immigration and the economy. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. When he says Trump is right about those things, he knows that he's going to be associated with these other things. And he either doesn't care if he's associated with them or he is associated with them. So the next category of things would be anti-DEI or ESG and anti-China. I mean, this makes sense for tech companies that are, they want to be able to run efficiently. They don't want to have to deal with a bunch of school marm, longhouse commissars, HR commissars, and they're also very suspicious of people who predicate themselves on intellectual property theft. Intellectual property is very important to these people. They don't, so they don't look very kindly on China. The administrative state, electoral fortification, and political prosecution. A lot of these people, the administrative state is a huge thing for the bulk of them. This is like their key thing. The thing that they're chafing under constantly is the just absolute bloated incompetence on Capitol Hill and all the different administrative bureaucracies associated with it. The way that they slow down innovation, the way that they're basically, they feel like they're operating with handcuffs. So they want an American government. They want a nationalist, strong American government that preserves American borders, preserves national sovereignty, and they want hands off of their ability to innovate and develop and not have to deal with constant onerous regulation and all this sort of thing. Then the last thing related is autarky / pro-innovation / currency stability / Bitcoin. These are all, again, things that it's kind of a big bucket that's lumped together that a lot of these people value. These are all core planks of the GAE, of the piss drinker. To go after these things is to go after the heart and soul of the piss drinker. So it's not like this is just a faction within the thing that they're just sort of like, if they're going to pick fights amongst themselves for the sake of advancing themselves, they're not going to select like all of their biggest core issues. These are the things that, going back to academic agents piece here, the 4 main points that he highlighted were military supremacy, Gundo. This is Gundo. Clearly, and the competency crisis has really hit the military ranks. You've seen the videos coming out of people, the types of people they're getting to sign up, they're struggling to get people to sign up, period. The leadership at the top of the military is incompetent. You could talk to any military guy and they're going to, it's like the lower level leadership it seems like for the most part it hasn't been completely compromised, but by the time you get to like the colonels and generals, and especially the generals, they're basically politicians.
If the military wasn't so piss drinker, I would honestly consider joining. For completely unrelated reasons. Like, I want to go on an adventure. I want to like blow shit up, you know?
Yeah, that's a spirit that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I guess not.
A lot of it has died. And that's the spirit that you're seeing with the Gundo guys.
Yeah, like if I could sign up and it's like I could get in writing, like I don't have to take the jab and I don't have to like trans my kids, then and I get to go blow shit up, like within reason. Like, okay, I don't want to blow up like starving Yemeni children or something like that. But I don't know who's like a real bad guy. Is there any real bad guys left other than us? You know what I mean?
Right. Jason says the Gundo programmers are modeling their higher-ups. Those higher-ups are modeling the investors. The investors are modeling Thiel and Musk. I think that's at least very directionally accurate. I don't know that I guess my natural sort of conservative side wants to say maybe like that's what's forming. That's what I see building. I don't know if that's exactly what's here now, and if that's actually what's building, then the distinction won't really matter.
Maybe we could like manifest destiny and go like invade Mexico and clean up the cartels for Emmanuel's sake. Those are actual bad guys.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
We could just annex Mexico and you could be part of us. And I get to go blow up some bad guys.
What do you think, Emmanuel?
Yeah, what do you think? Can I blow up bad guys? And then you can be part of us. Do you want to be part of us? We're kind of gay. We're kind of piss drinker. Maybe you don't want to be part of us. At least you seem to have retained that masculine spirit a little bit.
I don't know. AMLO doesn't really strike me as exactly a Chad, but it's hard. Sometimes it's hard as an American to really judge the ethos of the South American and Central American politicians. AMLO is the president of Mexico.
I was thinking Alamo. Didn't we win that? Did we win that? Who won that? Wasn't it like Davy Crockett and some other?
They all died. They all got wiped out.
Everyone died.
Yeah, and you go see the Alamo today, it's like literally in downtown San Antonio.
Really?
It's right next to like all the street life, all the partying and everything. And then there's just like office buildings and stuff, and then there's the Alamo.
Like surrounded by brutalist architecture.
Yeah, right.
Never forget.
Yeah. Okay, so military supremacy. This is obviously.
Did we win the Alamo? Did we win 9/11? I don't remember.
I think I'm surprised that Darren isn't spurging out about about we. He's like, what is this we? Texan. So military supremacy is obviously a major issue, and someone else up in the chat is way too far up now. Said something about like, what about them bringing in foreigners and giving them citizenship in return for military service? I'm not particularly concerned about a military made up of a bunch of third worlders who were imported because they're desperate for citizenship. I'm not. Like if a bunch of them were going to come like occupy my city, then yeah, like I would be like, okay, these are people who clearly would have no problem killing me. So I'm going to be concerned with it on that level. But I'm not remotely concerned with the piss drinker maintaining global supremacy through a recruited army of third world migrants. And I don't think anybody else should be either.
I was going to make a joke about being 4 White Claws deep. I don't remember what the joke was. So continue.
The joke was that you're 4 White Claws deep and forgot the joke.
I'm the joke.
Yeah. So first pillar was military supremacy. That's obviously something that is threatened, and this could be a whole nother show. The idea that I think we might have talked about this with Jay Burden, that part of the piss drinkers. Yeah, the piss drinkers' MO has been to desexify all of its people. So it's pretty hard to maintain a competent military, especially the type of military that you would need to be able to sustain an extremely complex global empire that you maintain rigid control over every part of. It's pretty hard to do that when you have generation upon generation of people who have been conditioned to believe that violence is horrible and appalling and you should never be involved in it and you should only ever outsource it.
I want some violence, man. That's what I want in my life. I want some action.
Yeah. So the second part was the U.S. dollar and the IMF and the global financial system that they underpin. Well, this is very clearly something that's under assault with this rising counter elite. I mean, PayPal. The whole point of PayPal being brought into existence was the idea of creating an alternate financial system. You've got the nationalists within the American monetary theory, as Tom Luongo and Phil Gibson have been talking about, that are they're essentially retaining American sovereignty through the financial system. They're jettisoning themselves away from the global homo agenda and retaining American sovereignty through the financial system. And then you have Bitcoin and the effect that it's going to have on these things as well. These are also things that are very, these are core parts of the motivations of this rising counter elite. The third thing is the regime characterized by the techniques of soft persuasion and propaganda, the soft power regime. Again, the media corruption, DEI, ESG, immigration, all of these sorts of things are all major issues for these people. Watching the way the media is letting down its responsibility and yada yada yada. And of course, many of them want to reform it. They want to like replace it with media institutions that are going to do their job. There's a lot of boomercon to it, but the fact remains. I mean, this isn't the core plank. This is one of the planks, but there's another direct connection here. And then the last thing was the subjugating colonies through the method of demographic change through mass non-white immigration. Again, obviously, this is very closely connected to the issues that are chafing at this new rising counter-elite cabal. They're pro-family, anti-crime, national sovereignty is very important to them. The idea of just having unlimited illegal immigration pouring across the border, this is not a place that they want to live. Now, I can hear the people, oh, they want to increase legal immigration. Ah! Yeah, they do. Ah! You know what you're not going to get? You're not ever, at least not in our lifetimes, going to get a rise to power of elites who are going to say, no, we're shutting down immigration altogether. It's just not going to get it. Would it be nice if we could get that? Yeah, obviously, of course. But number one, I don't even know how feasible it would be to actually sustain a system like that. And it's not even going to be politically palatable for long into the future. So your choice is the people who want unlimited all kinds of immigration, or the people who want no more illegal immigration. They want to bring in select high value or whatever legal immigrants across. Okay, sure. I'll take the latter. That's a start. Let's take the latter and let's build on it. So I said, is there 100% alignment with us? Of course not. Do we part ways on fundamental issues? Of course. I can't say this enough. These aren't our guys. That's not the premise here. The premise is not our guys are taking power and the white hats are in control. Patriots are in control. That's not the premise. The premise is that, here I said they are very much aware of the regime and very much not okay with it. They're perfectly inclined to live at peace with us. They have time, vitality, and competency on their side. And the regime can't sustain its ability to project power across all these domains at the same time. Will it take 5 years? 10? 20? I don't know exactly how long it'll take, but an American regime change is coming. Okay. So, based on that, there's all of that there. Then we had our last episode on American dynamism and Gundo. And there were, I think I've kind of addressed some of the complaints that I saw from people then. I think I've kind of hit some of those here today. But if any of you here in the chat right now is objects to the framing of the last episode or objects to the stuff that we've talked about here today, we'll do essentially like an AMA. You guys can you can hit us with your comments, your feedback, ask questions if you're trying to understand this PayPal Mafia thing. If you haven't heard it, this is the first time you've heard it. We're at an hour and 24 minutes in. I think we could probably go for another 20 minutes or so. So if you guys have any complaints,
That's it?
We could go longer than that, maybe. I don't know how long are you around?
I'm around as long as you want to go, man. I'm like 4 White Claws in. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready for a Jim Bob stream.
Oh, yeah. Jason says, finite immigration to fix competency or infinite immigration for
Matt.
tacos. Which choose, Anon?
Hey, Matt.
What?
How do you feel about me dropping the restream link in the chat there? Just in case anybody wanted to jump in.
Yeah, we could do that.
All right, we're feeling spicy. Come on in, guys. Let's get crazy.
We got 107 watching and 58 likes.
Oh, Xavier wants to go to the gym. Did he text me? He might have texted me back.
Hit the like button, please. Hit it again. Actually, no, don't hit it again. Someone else hit it. Keep hitting it.
Xavier, we will go to the gym tonight, okay? We will go to the gym tonight whenever we're done here. Sound good? Good. I am inebriated.
Yes.
Mildly.
Is it wise to go to the gym when you're inebriated?
I don't know. I might be able to crank out more reps. You know? Who knows?
Just turn your brain off more.
Yeah. Just turn down the governor.
Yeah. It is interesting how much of that stuff is psychological. Like Like you see it
It
with
is.
like the 5'2" mom who will lift a car up to get her kid out from underneath it. It shows that the infrastructure, the mechanical infrastructure is able to sustain a lot more than your mind will let it.
Right. Right.
Well, Emmanuel, can't jump on. I'm ashamed of my looks, but more of my ignorance on these topics.
Ryan Isaac says probability. Coop falls asleep and Xavier goes by himself. Yeah, I just fucking pass out on the floor over here.
There's a reason he's Grandpa White Claw, because
That's right.
he has an early bedtime. Sanji Vinsmoke says, Matt, any thoughts about the same subject but for Europe?
I fucking knew it. I knew Josh Ham would jump in. I knew he would be the first person to do that.
I give no
Here we
fucks.
go. We're gonna have to boot you, dude. You're gonna drive me insane, and we're gonna have to boot you.
He's here smoking a cigarette, making me want one.
Yeah, I know.
Let me answer.
You're welcome.
Let me answer Sanji's question here. Any thoughts about the same subject but for Europe? I think. Honestly, I think Europe is probably a little fucked. I don't think that. I think what we're watching happen is the American empire being pulled in, and Europe is going to have to fend for themselves. And I don't really expect Europe to. It seems that there isn't anything nearly this far along in Europe. So I haven't been watching it real closely. I just started looking at kind of the foreign policy, geopolitical implications of some of this stuff. Because I have the conversation with Semiagog tomorrow. But yeah, so I guess that's not a very satisfying answer. What about you guys? What do you think?
What's up, Jason? What's up, Josh?
Hell, Jason.
What it do, Coop?
The Real Kingpilled Show.
I would definitely say that Europe is further along than we are on the GAE trajectory, but of course they are, because they've been the subjects, and so they're even further back in terms of being able to establish a national identity or anything that gives them, some foothold in reality. Now, the plus side is, though, they've got 2,000 years, 1,000 years of history they can draw on, so they can bring it back a whole lot easier, where we're kind of having to just build it from scrap.
We're doing the Jim Bob thing, man.
Yeah.
What up? What up?
Here we go.
What's up, Logan?
Oh, not much.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, like I said in the chat, I'm at work and I'm down to join and talk.
I like the hair.
Oh, thanks.
It's very
You look
Gundo.
like what are those trolls? You know those old like plastic toys when we were kids? They were like the gnome troll things that had the hair. What were those called?
Trolls. It's literally
Were they
what
called
those
trolls? Okay, yeah.
movies are named after.
They
Oh
had,
yeah, that's right. There was a movie.
They had the little jeweled belly button.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper, I want you to read this chat I put up on the screen here.
Me, man, if you see a Ute on YouTube, a stream without no shirt, that mean him a dem Islam boy. Him a live up the tropical vibes, ya see?
Well done. Thank you, Big Bamboo, the bug-based bad mon.
Yeah, please come around more often. I like you.
Where can I get some of this action? Okay, just to build.
Apparently,
on
you got to get half naked. Apparently, got to get half naked on stream, boss.
Apparently so.
Yeah, Cooper, you ever...
Sorry, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, Cooper, you ever put those extra jorts on to stay warm?
I've got approximately 2 or 3 pairs of jorts. One is khaki, one is some cut-off jeans, and then the other is black jeans. I have not worn them since summer because I'm in Michigan and it's cold here. But I am wearing a pair right now.
Okay, just to build on something that Matt's saying that I think you have to really understand. Is that
I'm not understanding a whole lot right now.
we're not, none of this premise of the counter elite means that things are going to go be the way you want them to be. Okay, you have to get rid of this idea that your perfect little order, your little fantasy system, the thing that you thought you're going to have, is not going to happen. Or if it does happen, it'll be by a fucking fluke of nature. So remove that from your mind, and you have to start, and then join us with a starting premise. The starting assumption is this, that things are changing.
Yes.
And changing extremely rapidly. and we've pinpointed, Matt especially, has pinpointed exactly who's behind the change. That's it. Everything else is just more pointing things out, going, hey, look at this. Isn't that interesting? Oh, look at what these people are doing. Gundo's taking over the military-industrial complex. Who's Gundo? Oh, well, they're being funded by Palantir and all these other guys. Who are those guys? Well, they're all connected, and they're all connected to the same network of people who seem to be very, very interested. Oh my goodness, Cooper, you're starting a mimetic trend here. It's getting.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Excellent.
I'm worried I'm worried about someone pulling up a jar of peanut butter right now.
I'm having so much
that's
fun.
where
this is my last White Claw.
That's
I'm
where
all
this
out
leads,
now.
guys. This is where it all starts, you know.
I cannot join this trend at the moment.
So I think everyone's getting bent out of shape, and I'm seeing so much flack from friendlies when you start pointing this out on X, is that everyone's
Yeah,
like
shirts versus skins.
everyone wants like their own personal little bit of this to be true, and it's like, look, man, you can counter signal all you want, but at the end of the day, we're right.
Mhm.
Like it's getting painfully obvious.
It's like, so there's what we're saying is this thing is happening. You can see this happening. You can see this thing developing. And based on the things these people are talking about, the things these people are reacting to, the types of people that they are, the types of things they value, you can start triangulating what's motivating them to start acting and which direction they're acting toward. Then separately from that, there are reasons for optimism within this, given the sorts of things that they value, the sorts of things we value, the fact that these people are not necessarily genetically given over to being hostile and wanting to destroy us. These people aren't wanting to build a global empire premised upon the destruction of white people. So,
and if one day they are, then we'll have to deal with that too.
Right.
And then things like, okay, even if all that changes is that they're less hostile to, humanity by a degree, well, that's a positive change, right? Like people seem obsessed about this idea that everything's bad, everything's horrible, and we're all going to live in coom pods. We're going to be forced into coom pods and eating bugs. Like, you've accepted this premise. I'm saying divorce yourself of that premise.
Yes.
And then live a bit freer and more optimistically, saying, well, they're not our friends. I don't want to be Peter Thiel. I want his money, but that's neither here nor there. But if I got to get the haircut, I'll get the haircut. Whatever I got to do, whatever signals I got to send, man, it's fine. But
you got to get rid of the mustache.
I will say
no, that's he'll adopt the mustache. That's
I will say though that the people who are embracing the spirit of the Amerikaner are aggressive. It's not this whole like, oh, we're peace and kumbaya. It's like, no. I'm perfectly fine being willing to use force. That's fine. It's part of the reason why like lifting and looking good and being physically fit and all of these things are coming back, because it's like, look, if I gotta stuff nerds into trash cans so that my kids can have a decent life, fine. I'm
muscles and Jesus.
I think there's
Jesus
tons.
and muscles.
I think there's tons of evidence to prove that Dana White is on board with this, and I think if you think that Dana White's going to go down without a fucking fight, you're out of your fucking mind. That man built his entire career not just in the fighting business, but he's said in tons of interviews, he's like, I'm teaching my kids just to be aggressive. Is if you're aggressive in this world, you can have everything. Because the opposition's so weak. So I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially it. Like, there's so many people who are on board on the peripheries of this and who are being onboarded daily. I won't mention names. Okay, Candace Owens talking about which books the Nazis burned is signal. I won't mention names, but there are people in our general sphere who are now being onboarded or being reached out to by the what we call it, the Con Inc. and some of that. They're hungry for new ideas. They're desperate for new ideas, and this thing is new, and it's happening, and they're seeing it. These people are as tuned into this shit as possible because their entire careers and livelihood depends on it, and maybe they're even their existence, and they're picking up on this shit. It's all over the fucking place. Curtis Yarvin does not get on Charlie Kirk for fucking nothing.
And of course,
Okay?
the way that I'm seeing a lot of people react to this is oh, they're pulling everything in. They're pulling all these people in to neuter them, to water them down. And even if we grant that, even if we say I don't think that's the case, but even if we do grant that, what does that mean? What does that indicate? That indicates a departure from the norm. That indicates a departure in a different direction. And that departure is going to have consequences. What we're seeing is that people who view the world much closer to the way we view it are beginning to ascend into positions of power and influence. When that happens, the system necessarily changes. And what we're seeing now is people being elevated within the system or elevating themselves within the system who stand for ideas that are directly antithetical to everything about the system itself. You can't just incorporate those things in and continue with business as usual. It's going to change in some direction. Again, these aren't our guys. I'm not saying this is changing in the best possible direction we could ever hope for, and we're going to have eternal white boy summer going forward. What I'm saying is that it's going to be a lot easier to have eternal white boy summer.
We can have eternal white boy summer today.
Yes, exactly.
Which I'm having.
Happening right now. Right. Open your eyes, Matt. Look at the gayness on the screen.
I'm so glad that you were sober, Matt, because I have no idea what's going on.
Now,
I am having a blast, though.
now for all the young men in chat, just as a real quick aside, the aggression that Jason was just talking about, the beautiful thing about it is most of us who are here would be smart enough to have heard of the Pareto principle, 80-20, so on and so forth, right? And women hate losers. They like winners. That's what they like, okay? And the competition has never been more bitchified than it is right now. And so what it takes to get into the top 10% to actually be a good partner for these women is the lowest the bar has ever been in human experience that I can think of. So
it's so easy to be above average.
So
the skins are winning.
Yeah.
Come on, Logan, you're at work.
There's not nearly enough hair on
because
there.
I'm having fun.
Yeah, I don't think my security company would appreciate me being shirtless in the fucking shack.
Fuck 'em.
Chatting with a bunch of dudes.
You only live once.
And we're having fun.
Hey, you can only get
YOLO.
fired from a company once.
Start job stacking, and then you would be immune to that.
I mean, shit, if anything ever goes wrong, I can always just start picking up orders in the guard.
Mance Jolie, I don't wear shorts. Why do you think I would take my shirt off?
$20 super chat from Sergeant Hodel. Thank you, sir. He says, the piss drinker is just the horse the Longhouse rides on. Empowered, overeducated spinster whammon is what turns John Locke liberal Fresh Prince world into woke clown world. And I don't really see the Longhouse getting put away. I see simping.
So stop simping, dude.
Thoughts from the panel. I have thoughts. I'll give you guys a chance.
Yeah, we've had enough of your thoughts, Matt. That's your Cooper's thought.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I've talked about this for. There's two things I've been talking about for 6 months.
Where is Kyle? Where is Kyle? Because we've got Xavier here, and me, and you, Matt, and we need Kyle, and we need him naked. And then we would have we'd have the entire board of Heavy Crown Holding Company
in a gimp
here.
mask.
In a gimp mask with a fucking ball gag.
Get the whole hog on the fucking
You
bed.
can just do that thing on his head, like.
It'd be like from what's that movie? What's that movie? That Quentin Tarantino
Pulp Fiction.
movie?
Yeah,
Pulp Fiction. Yeah, we'd have the fucking gimp.
All right, I've been saying two things for 6 months now, and
So
I have,
okay.
folders full of this shit. It's proving itself. One, neo-trads are going to replace the woke. Two, Vengeful Sun, the spirit of the Vengeful Sun is here, and it's going online. and you're going to start seeing it everywhere. I just started writing an article on Substack. Everyone should go check that out, detailing how this break is going to break down. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It won't be Fresh Prince of Bel-Air world. It won't be a return to the 90s. That's what the liberals want. It's going to be a return back to like 1950s if we're going to pick an era. It's going to be a return to the most stable, mythological, stable part of America possible. And that's where it's going to build. It's going to be guys back in suits and ties, looking very much like investor class C-suite guys, or at the most like stuff like this. Like this will be the casual. Okay.
Look at Sean Strickland will be our spirit.
Look at how Elon Musk. Look at how Peter Thiel. Look at how like who's that guy? Not Lionsgate, but
Lonsdale.
Lonsdale. Look at how all those guys dress and present themselves. That's what it's going to start looking like, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Don't buy stock in T-shirts. Is what I'm telling you. It's going to look very, very, very 1950s. Very, very, very soon. How soon? 5, 10, 15 years. I don't know. But it's gonna start hitting the main, and you're gonna start seeing it everywhere.
Mm.
And there's gonna be like some variations at first. They're gonna play out on the edges, and then it'll become very Leave It to fucking Beaver.
You're also gonna get like to I guess to highlight the fact that you aren't just selling this purely as a white pill. This is also going to be the era of the decent gays. This is going to be the era of the gays who want to. There's the bet that AA and Oren McIntyre have about putting the woke away. You're going to see putting the degenerate gays away. You're going to see the Dave Rubins of the world who want their traditional American lifestyle. They want to have their nice, decent human trafficking. They don't want to have the piss drinking trafficking. They want to have the nice, decent, kidnap and adopt the children and that. So you're going to see like the range of acceptable gay people is going to be like Peter Thiel to Dave Rubin. That's going to be the public gay people who are acceptable, but the ones who are accepted are going to be very much in your face. It's going to be very acceptable to be out Rubin and gay and married and everything.
Dave Rubin is already modeling Peter Thiel.
Mm-hmm.
Who bought Locals?
Who
bought Locals? Rumble. Who owns Rumble? Who's the biggest single investor in Rumble?
Thiel.
Peter Thiel.
Mm-hmm. Who's got the dog?
Yeah, who's got the fucking dog?
Shoot the fucking dog.
Okay,
messing with my vibe.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we'll really be going back to like 1950s. It'd probably be something a little different, but still with that same feel. Like people are definitely.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe.
Well, yeah, no, people are getting fed up with the woke shit or woke stuff and all of the extreme degeneracy in our culture. Like things have been
one of the biggest. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, things have not been fully going our way.
Just interrupt him. If Jason starts talking, just interrupt him, or you won't get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, people want the Madmen feel. They want that vibe.
You sound like an ex co-host I used to know.
But things have been,
go ahead, Logan.
Of course, not completely going our way, but like in that general direction, like more and more salvageable. And it's been interesting to see because like I'm only 23, so growing up I've seen basically nothing but the complete degeneration of everything. So
You're only 23?
Yes, sir.
You're making me feel old, and I'm a Zoomer.
So you're only like 25, Coop. What are you talking about?
I'm 26, okay? Don't undersell me.
I think the white pill part of this is...
Jason, please take your shirt off.
Good luck with that.
This is the skin stream.
Kick me off then.
We need...
Yeah, Matt, kick him off. Get him out of here.
We need to make Logan feel like an outsider. We gotta ostracize him. Make sure he's the only shirt on the stream. I'm trying to get Kyle. Kyle's not.
We should
I texted
Yeah,
Kyle
please.
the link, and he said, "Jesus, what am I walking into?" And I just told him to hurry the
We
fuck
need to-
up.
call it. It's already called the gay stream, isn't it?
No, it was the impending death of the gay.
How do you
Well,
kill
we'll
a
bring it
gay?
back.
I was
Gay.
so confused when you first started saying gay, like right after Jim Bob sent us over here, because I thought you were talking about like the collapse of the alphabet mafia and everything, and you pulled up the article Global American Empire, and I was like, oh, okay.
I believe the term
That'll
is
be
piss drinker,
a
sir.
secondary.
Piss drinker.
Yes, piss drinker.
Yeah, piss drinker, please, so we know what we're talking about here. Okay.
Yeah, we
Now,
got to be
I
precise
will-
in our terms.
I will admit, the Rainbow Mafia will be a casualty of the death of the gay. Like
Oh,
that
absolutely.
will, yeah.
It's completely
But
propped
like
up by.
I sent it in. I sent it in Discord yesterday, and I still want to talk to Coop and Matt and Jason about this later. But like I sent it, and inside the stuff that I'm looking at, they're talking about installing competency czars and competency commissars instead of equity and equality and all that. And I'm like, oh, they're just really going to just take. They're going to take everything that says DEI, change it over to competency, and completely axe handle all the bullshit.
Hmm.
And so
White
that like
Slot
that
Burrito
that
Bar. What a great name.
that very concept is a whole different world than just mumbling about the Constitution. They're like, no, we're just gonna fucking destroy it. We're gonna flip it all. It's ours now. Eat it.
Well, so my problem with that is like, if y'all are familiar with Jay Dyer, like he talks all the time about technocracy and all the fucking
We're familiar.
technocrats. Yeah, I would imagine so. And so it's most likely just a step in that direction. They want to get people more and more accepting of the radical meritocracy, which just ends up being everything we're used to.
No, what they're talking about is that loyalty is actually more important than intelligence, and they're correct.
The thing that with what they're doing. So the little context here, Josh has been. We talked about Project 2025 before, and the on the website there was a sign up form where you could sign up and you could start going through their training with Project 2025. So Josh was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to do it and just see what happens. And so he's been giving us idea or input on what he's going through, and the training that they're having him do is incredibly rigorous. It is hours and hours and hours, and this isn't fluffy stuff. This is like I don't know how successful they're going to be. I don't know to what extent they're going to be able to fully infiltrate in a single administration. The mere fact that sort of thing exists is a big departure from, like, this isn't your granddaddy's conservative activism organization. This isn't your daddy's conservative activism organization either. This is a very new thing. This is a legitimate, I don't even know how to summarize it. It's right-wing people who are actually organizing around competence and building a plan for how to rule and govern effectively, with not rule and govern in this is the way the Constitution works. This is how our systems ought to function, and so go in there and act as if that's how they function because you'll be a good example to everyone. Yeah, no. This is like
not just normal cuckservatism.
Exactly. This is like the entire system is out to get you. You're going to be ruined. This is how you need to be able to navigate. What was the one thing like grant writing, how to deal with the media, how to not be canceled, how to ensure that you can advance your agenda through or not your agenda. They specify this is the president's agenda. How you can advance this agenda through, knowing that the left is going to be after you, the media is going to go after you. You're going to get both barrels. This is how you need to be positioned to make sure that you can be successful in that environment. This is a big departure from like, I don't know, even the Republican Party of 8 years ago. This is a significant departure. So I don't know if they're going to be as successful as they want to be in this in this first electoral gambit. It doesn't matter that much to me. I'm looking at this from far more zoomed out. Like, this is a completely different trajectory for right-wing political action in America.
I mean, one of the things that they go over specifically is if you're not catching any flack, then you're not over the target. Then you're not a threat. If you're not getting hit pieces written about you, then you're a loser.
Here, here.
I mean,
yes.
I'm trying.
Hey, we're
I'm
losers.
doing my best.
We're losers.
we're
Losers here
hit
at
pieces,
Real
Matt.
Female
Poking
Show.
as many people in the eye as possible by my very existence. Apparently, I
Right.
offend
But
everybody.
none of us
at all
none of
times.
us have-
I don't know. Like,
none of us have power. If we become leaders in agencies that are actually directing government power and funds, that's a very different thing. Because it's one thing to have ideas, it's another thing to wield power.
thing is, okay, here's an interesting little idea, right? You may not have power, but you have capital, right? Human capital is
No, we don't.
is essentially
No, I don't.
no, you do. Your human capital is time and attention. Those two things are the things that the attention economy that Cyprian keeps going on about. If there's an economy for it, that means you must be in possession of that resource. So if you have time and attention, right, and they're vying for your time and attention, it's only a matter of what you give it to. So
Lyle's
from that starting point, you have power. You just don't know how you're just not looking at how to invest it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we say you don't live in a civilization anymore. What you need to do is build a tribe. Once we have a tribe of a whole bunch of people who aren't countering signaling each other and trying to be the smartest person on the block, because that's obviously me and Matt, and Cooper sometimes. Then hierarchy, bro. Just hierarchy. Then the idea is this: okay, where are you in the hierarchy? Where are you in the grand scheme? Well, if we don't have, and we're not in a position of management, but we're in a position of ideas, get the ideas up. Get the ideas up and out. And once we have signal, and once you have confirmation of signal, then we can start doing some interesting things. Because that's how memetics work. Sometimes you have to be the model, and sometimes you have to be the moderator. And you have to be able to point people to where you want them to start thinking. And people start thinking it, and then they start look at PayPal Mafia. Okay. This gets hatched on the King Pill Discord VC. Everyone should go join that, right? Where Matt and I were just talking like I think Vivek, because I was going to do a Vivek friend or fed, and I was kind of like vacillating between things. I'm like, my sense is that Vivek is in PayPal and is connected to this PayPal Mafia guys, and Matt in that same chat was like do and went, and that's where the idea infection came. Matt's mentioned this on a handful of streams, and all of a sudden everyone was like, whoop, the fuck is this? New idea.
It's been kind of weird how it's just kind of like, oh, here's an interesting thing. Like, we did our big deep dive on the generational thing, and we spent several episodes talking about that, and it was like, oh yeah, people would be like, oh yeah, this is kind of an interesting thing. A couple of people pointed it out, and then we did a couple streams on the PayPal Mafia thing, and my DMs just blew up of people like, hey, did you see this? Here's a person talking about it. Here's this other thing. So like, I did a bunch of the legwork at first, and then I've just had people just pouring in, sending me clips, tweets, videos, books, all kinds of stuff. And there's a bunch of other people who've been looking at similar things, like Tom Luongo. He's been doing this in the financial monetary sector, looking at like a legitimate counter elite movement that's going against global homo. And so when I heard that and I started listening to some of what they were talking about, I realized, oh, this is so much further along than I thought. This is
Matt.
What?
Vote Trump.
He absolutely destroyed me with that earlier.
And I'm going to agree with Jason totally about how much capital there is in your attention, because I think that's a huge part of why the Project 2025 stuff is so long and so convoluted and difficult and everything else.
Yeah.
Because it's a winnowing, right? You're not hearing about this on basic conservative media. It's only in the fringes.
But you will.
But that'll be after the core people.
Comes from the outsides up. outside up.
White horses.
This is how the new media hierarchy has been structured. The alternative media, Tim Pool and all those guys, they take the fringe, they put it on the show, they begin to they basically stress test it and see if it catches wind. If it catches wind, it goes up and out to the point where you'll hear it on Fox News or counter signal on MSNBC, or they'll do their thing. But it starts from the window. It starts from the window is shifting.
The Overton window has shifted way more than any of us who were paying attention thought it would this last decade. Way more.
Even the last
way faster.
Year.
Look, once I started reading Girard and started understanding those principles, all the other shit made like complete and total sense. The last like 3 years, I'm like, oh, okay. I can literally go and look at like fringe shit being said on the reason why Patrick Bet-David is in existence is he's stress testing ideas before they get to Rogan.
Yep.
Okay. You start to understand
ideas
the new
and
media
people.
hierarchy. Yeah, you understand the new media hierarchy, and then you start looking for who are on the outside looking in. Who are these guys getting? Who's Tim Pool got on this week? That's interesting now. It's not this bullshit things they talk about because they always dumb it down and make it pablum. It's where are these little tiny ideas coming in and being filtered, and they're stress testing.
I can't believe that we have 100 people watching right now.
What you guys are seeing is basically a King Pilled voice chat. Like when we talk about the voice chats in the King Pilled group, sometimes it's on video like this, sometimes it's just we're just all talking, but this is what it is for like 6 hours at a time.
I'm saying some using more colorful language.
Right.
I'm
being slightly
from,
selective here.
What's that scene from Silence of the Lambs where you had what's his name dancing to white horses? That's kind of what I'm embodying right now.
I'm just glad there's another sensible person that's actually fucking clothed.
Kyle, take your shirt off. Come on, dude. You're a ball of muscle.
I only take my shirt off for you when we're alone.
Well, did you guys know that Kyle and I slept in a bed together twice?
For an entire weekend. We talking about
entire
twice.
The thing. Well, 2 nights.
Okay.
That would be an entire weekend.
Wow. Your autism's showing again.
Dude, his feet smell like a dead body.
It was bad.
What's up with that?
It was bad. Dude,
That's what happens
bad.
when you wear fucking work boots everywhere.
Well, so apparently
Hey, I'm just saying.
Wings.
Combat boots
Y'all don't
in
know
a
feet
deployment.
smell. Yeah, y'all don't know feet smell until you're in a bay with 64 other guys.
Yeah, bro.
I lived in a tent for
I will
4
say-
years.
It was bad. It was bad that weekend. I mean, I couldn't even fucking stand it. It was my own feet.
Is a bay the new like gay club term? Is that like the sauna term now? It's like they don't use sauna anymore. It's a bay.
Piss drinker is the term that we're using now.
No,
We're
bay like mass sleeping quarters.
Goy Slop Burrito Bar, which has the best name ever, might be better than Glonk Respecter says. Are the voice chats usually naked? If so, how do I join? Go to subscribestar./kingpilled, right?
Subscribestar.com/kingpilled. Yeah.
It's in the bottom there.
It gets much more homoerotic than this.
Yeah.
This is YouTube safe.
Take care.
The only person.
Self-advertising for position nutrition natural. In less than a year, you can get results like this if you buy our program. Right,
That's
Cooper?
right. Logan is the only one here who's not in the King Pilled Discord. So now we need to peer pressure him to do it.
Boot him.
One of us.
Hey, Matt, we're coming up on 2 hours.
We just passed 2 hours.
Okay. Let's wrap this up.
Okay, well, first of all, since we've got Xavier on here, we need to target him for harassment.
Bring it
Xavier,
on. What you got?
you are a recovering shitlib. What can we do to bring you along? We're gonna have a struggle session here.
I guarantee his audio is dog shit.
If it helps, I voted for Trudeau in 2014, so there is hope, man.
Okay. That's what I need. I need to see that there's light at the end of the tunnel, because right now, it seems like
First
there's
of
no
all,
hope.
grow a boss mustache. That's your
I
first step.
can't. I've tried. I cannot grow a mustache or any facial hair that's worth
You
anything.
keep shaving it. You keep shaving
Legit.
it. It'll grow in. You just gotta like.
I have been doing
when
that
you-
since
when-
like 13.
When you become a
dude, and
dissident,
nothing happens.
it grows in thicker. Don't worry.
Yeah, but that was like 4 years ago for you, dude. It's fine. It's good time.
Yeah, I've been trying to grow out a stash for like 3 years now, and yeah, it ain't working.
Rub some caffeine on it. I'm actually not. I'm actually not
a
kidding.
joke. Not even a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a joke.
I've been
Drink
doing
black
the
coffee and just
microneedling
put your
and
face in it.
the
The
oil.
rosemary oil as well.
I've been doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's nothing yet.
Pack your top lip was in.
All right, harassment. I've been waiting for the harassment.
Yeah, we're kind with our bullying.
If it makes y'all feel
No,
any
you're
better,
not.
if it makes y'all feel any better, I'm a recovering lolbertard, so
Well, you're not alone.
We all are.
Yeah.
Well, so
We all
Not
are.
whoa. Not all.
Hold on.
Not all.
I still shamelessly have this on my coffee table, so I feel bad.
You know, it's funny. Right down the street from me,
No step on snack.
when the whole Texas border crisis thing was going on, we're just in like this nice little suburban neighborhood, and one of the people down the road put one of the "Come and Take It" flags with the cannon. They hung it up. It was obviously brand new. It still had all the crinkles and everything in it, and it's funny because it's a like distinctly Hispanic family. This isn't even like like Hispanic people who grew up in the U.S. They're like very Hispanic, and there was very obviously a connection between like when they put that sign up or with the flag up. It was right in the middle of all of that, and I know that wasn't a mistake or wasn't a coincidence.
really, I've been told like you can really tell the difference between illegal Southern immigrants and legal Southern immigrants because the legal ones are like insanely patriotic.
Because
Especially in Texas, because the Tejano culture in Texas of the Mexicans who left Mexico and joined Texas, the actual Tejanos, like they love Texas. That's their home. And
yeah, they also
So
hate
that's
the
a whole
ones who came legally hate the ones who came illegally. Because-
they earned it. They
Right,
earned it.
exactly.
They gave them a bad name and they're taking their shit. So
well, and they're taking their kids' shit, like having order in the streets. The whole reason they came here. They came for a land of opportunity and order as opposed to the chaos they fled, and now it's being taken from them. Those aren't their
Whoa.
people.
people care about the next generation. That's fucking wild.
Yeah, the big family, conservative, Catholic Hispanics. Oh yeah, they're very
Selfish bitch.
yeah.
They sold real deal oranges by the freeway. None of this GMO bullshit. Like, come on.
They're
They grew
natural
up by hand
entrepreneurs.
in piles of shit.
Much respect to the orange sellers, man. That's a tough grind.
Mm-hmm.
Vote.
Hey, they're the ones who would actually go to construction jobs and work
Okay, you
and bust their ass.
You got me on that one. You got me on that one.
Cooper and I were just having a conversation earlier while he was trying to get his camera set up and everything, and he was playing around with he's got one of these desks that goes up automatically, and he put it all the way up, and then we're kind of sitting here talking, and then he just disappears, and I figure he's messing around with his cords or something like that, and then he just jumped up and did that, and oh my God. I told him he needed to do it during the show. $2 super chat from random
bitch.
username. It says Gonzalez flag. Is that what's
Yes.
Gonzalez flag? Is that the
Gonzales is where that happened at. It was after the Battle of San Jacinto is when General Sam Houston took that cannon, or that's where they came to get that cannon. Was after the Battle of Ramirez. General Sam Houston took the cannon from Mexico, and then they came to try to take the cannon. And that's when they got their asses clapped at San Jacinto. We beat them in the swamp. I used to reenact the battles of Texas independence, and it was a lot of fun.
I do have to say, just real quick, my favorite version of the Gadsden flag still has to be the one where it's coiled up holding a fucking frag grenade, and it's got its mouth on the pin, and it just says, "I swear to God, I'll take you with me."
I like the funny colored one that's like a shitty Marine Corps drawing, and it says "No step on Sneck."
I have
like
one
that
of those on one of my hats at home.
All right, Matt. Let's wrap this up.
All right. Thank you for
Boot 'em.
jumping on, guys.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
Later,
yeah. He's gotta get the lotion in the basket. You fucking weirdo.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Or it gets the hose again.
Fucking sheet and everything. I'm getting creeped out or horny.
Those two. There's a lot of overlap between those sentiments.
Toodles, bitches.
Yes.
Thank you for watching King Pill, guys. This has been great. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Follow me on Twitter at RealKingPilled. Share this episode if you want to expose someone to a probably very jarring, weird experience. And if you want to participate in these bizarre, weird experiences, then you can go to subscribestar.com/KingPilled and join the King Pilled Discord. Yeah. It's only $10 to get in for right now. It's not going to be $10 for much longer. So come join us, and we do lots of conversations like this.
Can I just get in with what I've already done?
And Matt will be on
might buy you a month.
Matt will be on the 2-Bit podcast talking more about the PayPal Mafia this Friday, March 1st at 5 p.m. with guests like Peter Canones and Charles Haywood, and perhaps others.
Oh, and I'm unironically
You are totally stealing.
repping the Gen X Limp Bizkit sweatshirt, by the way. So felt like it's
rolling.
Hey Cooper, remember we did cover a break stuff in our punk band?
Yeah, we used to be back when we used to be cool. We were in a punk band, and we played Break Stuff was one of our openers.
You should open one of the shows with my generation. It's literally talking about Gen X.
But
it's not as cool as Break Stuff.
You're not wrong.
End the stream, Matt.